Thanks, guys. I'm Matthew Fitzgerald. Joining me is Jake Spawn Tiberi. We're about to get into this second match, but I've been told there'll be some small delays before we get to that. So, with that aside, what about Earth Spawn? I heard you're a big Earth enthusiast.
If I could swear on broadcast, this would be the segment I would do it. I hate Earth. Earth is the stupidest game mode ever. If you're out there and you invite me to an Earth game, I will unfriend you.
Jake
That is what my new, what is it called? Like little status update is. Invite me to Earth, unfriended.
Yeah, so you heard it here first in the OPL. Jake Spawn Tiberi is anti-fun. No fun allowed.
I hate fun.
Pure serious.
As far as fun goes, hate it.
Yeah, you're not going to find him up at 4 a.m.
League of Legends is our job, Fish. Should be a grind.
Oh boy. Well, we're getting into the second champion select between Regicide as well as Chiefs. Let's see if anything changes during their bans here. The Chiefs last match banned out 3 jungle champions targeting Fade, and they've started doing it again with the Kha'Zix ban first.
I think this is what every team that plays Regicide should do. Fade has been proven to have the most deadly champion pool on the team. You know, ZZZ plays everything. He hasn't got a champion pool, he has a champion ocean. Like, it's the Indian Sea. It is that big. But at the same time, Fade has shown that on Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, he is much better than he is on any other champion in the current meta.
Well, let's see what they decide to give him this match. Last game he played Sejuani and he looked fine early game on the champion.
Yeah, it certainly did. It was just the fact that they couldn't team fight correctly. You know, ZZZ was so far ahead, Fade was so far ahead, but Kedu was caught out a couple of times. Suman did not have a good performance at all.
And what did you think of Chen Shuen's Braum? Because when Decoy was playing, we thought he was one of their best supports they put into the roster, and all he played was Braum in their matches, and he looked great. Now, this is the first time we've really seen Chen Shuen diverse away from the Alistar thresh.
Decoy also had a really good Rakan game from memory.
Yep, he did too.
Was bouncing around Summoner's Rift. It looked like he was learning the champion in the first 10 minutes, but after he learnt it, he was popping off. So I honestly think that, you know, Decoy has been the best performing support. However, given the fact that Chen Shuan and Kedu speak the same language, obviously play a lot together, you would have to think that their ceiling is much higher, Fish.
Yeah, but hopefully be able to see Decoy make a return to the
Should
OPL.
be the Kalista pick here.
Because he was a very fun support to watch. Let's see if it is going to be Kalista.
Oh, that's interesting.
Instead, they go for Sejuani, picking up Fade's champion as soon as they possibly can, with 3 jungle bans again coming out from the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs should pick Kalista or Khan.
Or
I don't
Wukong.
think they should pick Wukong. I actually am sick of this Wukong hover.
So why do people troll Series for his Wukong pick and not Pabu for his Pantheon top?
Because I think it was a tweet that preceded the pick, Fish, which is what I'm going to say. I think Avant had a very memorable tweet about checkers and 4D chess, and then they played that. Whereas I don't think Pabu said, you know,
now I
anything
understand.
along those lines.
Well, Pabu probably did, but that's all Pabu
Yeah.
talks about.
Actually, it's not. Pabu he brushes his teeth a lot.
He does.
That's all
the
I know
first
about
thing I knew
Pabu's
about
social media.
And the first time I heard about Pabu, Rusty just told me, you know what? If there's one thing you need to know, is that he brushes his teeth on Snapchat and he dabs. Those are the 2 things you need to know about Pabu. Meanwhile, Regicide, they've picked up the Xayah Rakan bottom lane.
I like that because, you know, Kalista Rakan, very good. So instead, just take the next best lineup. Chiefs should go towards Braum because it shuts down a lot of that aggression, Fish, as we saw yesterday.
Yep.
But still certainly windows for Kedu and Chen Shuan to be able to outplay here.
So when I was watching yesterday, you guys were mentioning that Xayah's pullback, the route that she gets with her feathers, is blocked by Braum. Is that because the feathers going out are
get
blocked?
Yes. So you can't get 3 feathers behind them, in short. Also, if Braum gets on top of you and you have to ult away, it blocks every single one of your feathers. They don't even go to the side. He's just, in short, if you fight within that tiny window of when Braum's ultimate, it feels like an ultimate ability, when Braum's Unbreakable is available, Xayah can do absolutely nada.
Busted ability. There used to be times where we saw Braum Yasuo picked up a lot for the double wall comp.
Yep. That was the best siege comp ever.
Oh, it was nasty.
Because they couldn't kill your creeps. You would put Wind Wall out first, and then Braum would walk up on the second one, and they absolutely could not kill your creeps.
Yeah, every single turret would die. Chiefs also got Maokai during their first draft phase. A very strong champion that, due to the bans that come through in this particular matchup.
Huh, Zed. So obviously wanting to pick up something like, I don't know, potentially a Talia is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of like what, and obviously that comes to mind because Ryoma absolutely styled on triple yesterday in the matchup. Chiefs obviously would watch that. Humans are good. Zed player.
I mean, Super can now go back towards his Ahri if he wants to.
they
Talia
bet
is the
Talia, there you
ban. Chiefs should be picking for Swiffer here, I
I
believe.
think they're going to take Galio.
Cassidy is still left up, so they can try and hide a pick. Corki is left up as well.
They can also blind Nah here. I mean, they were happy to do it last game, and they survived the Aurelia. Don't know if it was the best survival of all time, but Swiper definitely outperformed ZZZ in the team fights. Oriana's very boring, Simon.
But that's what they're going to play. So Oriana is picked up for Swiffer. We see Chiefs draft the Clockwork Mage, bring frequently early into their drafts. It's now Red Side hovering.
I think it was Frostgurun. Frostgurun hates Talia and Oriana.
Really?
Just because of how unanswerable they are in draft at the moment. They do feel very easy to blind pick. Talia obviously was punished last time around. I'd like to see a Kayn game out of Fade. That would really make me happy.
Nah. Renekton's up. So ZZ's going to play that top lane instead.
Imagine if Human played a Kayn mid lane. That would also make me happy. If anyone was going to do it in the OPL, I would say it's Human.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be someone like Fantix that tried to pull it out. randomly.
No, trust me. I have had many words with young Richard Su, and obviously does not trust me to that extent.
But they do pick up Echo,
Makes sense.
which is becoming a bit more popular in the LPL since the buffs to his phase dive.
Yep. Good chase down potential. Good 1-3-1 comp coming out of Regicide right now. They can, either match Renekton into the Oriana if she doesn't go armor, or, something along those lines. Nah beats Renekton, so I would expect Swiper to pick that up and play back-to-back games.
You say that, but ZZ does not think that Nah beats Renekton.
Yeah, but ZZZ is wrong. He goes crazy things like Blade of the Ruined King. I think that Swiper is a good enough Nah that he'll just rush Frozen Mallet and keep him at a little bit of arm's length.
Potentially. Let's see if ZZ can pull it off again on his Renekton. He's very comfortable on the champion. In
Certainly
fact,
is.
during the first few weeks of the OPL, most teams were banning out his Renekton as early as they could, or at least taking it away from him as a first pick.
Problem is that he plays everything really well. He is, to me, I know he's played a split before, so I can't give him Rookie of the Split, right? But he would be one of the few players that I would consider giving Rookie of the Split to, having only won one series. Because to me, he has looked fine in every single game they play. He is a shining light on a team that otherwise has looked very, very ordinary.
He's a very vocal man as well, ZZZ. Often when he arrives to the studio, he's the one talking to the team with the coach as well. So we know a lot of decision-making is behind him too. And it's great to see that he's performing well. The rest of Regicide, however, some players are still putting the bits and pieces together, like Fade in the jungle, like Kedu and Chen Shen.
Well, I think Fade has put the pieces together. He just doesn't really understand the tank better. He has obviously gone back and learnt jungle incredibly well because he was playing things like Kha'Zix, Lee Sin. Now he has to learn how to team fight on tanks, and that's just a different skill set, right? And Kedu and Chen Shen, they played 3 weeks together or something along those lines. So I don't expect them to be superstars just yet. I think that, Regicide should be looking to avoid relegation through that 6 versus 7th match. And if they can't do that, I honestly don't know. I watched a little bit of Outlaws. I watched a little bit of Abyss Esports coming up. I don't know if they're better than Regicide, to be honest, because Regicide still look very good.
Well, we'll have to see if Regicide can pull things back, because we know that most of these players have definitely a very large skill ceiling. We'd love to see them get closer to that skill level. For now, though, let's check in with Regicide's coach, Vicarious, who is standing by with Serianne.
Thanks, guys. I'm standing here with Vicarious. The casters were talking about how Fade has quite a small champion pool and he had some bans thrown his way. But he had a good game on Sejuani, so have you been working on expanding his champion pool?
Okay, so that was very interesting to hear the casters saying Fade have a small champion pool. I mean, because maybe he does play a very small amount of champions in the past few weeks or even solo queue. But from what I know, he does have a big champion pool, and I've already stated that a few weeks ago. So, yeah.
Well, what would you like to see out of the team today, and what's your goals for the rest of the split?
Okay, so we have definitely been performing much better in our own practice games. So I'm really hoping to see the team really stepping up and potentially taking a game or even series.
Well, best of luck with the series, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Cool. So I think that Fade can play, people that have small champion pools, you force them off it and they can't play other things, right? So then they get nervous. I would say Shock has a small champion pool. I would say Fade's champion pool is fine, but he has a series of champions that he plays better than the other champions. So I kind of agree and disagree with Vicarious, because I would say on some champion he's like an A jungler, whereas on tanks right now I would say he's a solid B jungler, if you get what I'm trying to say, Fish.
That makes sense. I mean, there are a couple of players in the OPL historically that we thought similar things, like Sybil was very famous for this in the jungle. We thought he was a great jungler on champions like
Oh, we
Lisa
see
Zack.
the Super Lease for Spooks. He's actually gone to Raptors, and they've taken his blue buff just with the AD carry and support combo. So Spooks is going to be a full camp ahead of Mr. Fade, unfortunately, this game.
So he started, Raves had a single sapling in the blue buff bush, which Raze and Ejim gave him a big leash for. The first time I believe we saw this was in the EU LCS.
Certainly was.
Where the Maokai took both buffs at level 1. So, interesting start coming out from Spooks. Let's see if he's able to do anything cheeky with the early level 3. In fact, he's already making his way towards Fade in the jungle.
Yeah, see whether he, in fact, goes mid lane instead, Fishery, because that could be quite good. If Swiffer walks towards the bottom side, oh, just go over the wall, just go over the wall. He doesn't.
Does not. Spooks does get spotted out. So, good patient play coming out from Suman.
Yeah, it certainly is. So all this tempo does get wasted. Spooks sat in a brush for it, and now they're going to headbutt with the jungle. And Fade, he's going to have the jump on it, but doesn't have priority. So we'll see whether he does actually win this 1v1, because Nara is coming down.
Already been good damage dished out by Spooks with no return coming out from Fade. So he does shove him back out. So far, Spooks has not been able to do much with the early advantage. Does pick up a Scuttle Crab for himself and is making his way deeper into Fade's jungle. He knows Fade is low.
Actually knows that he's on that camp as well, Fish, so they're going to look to cut him off. Forces him out of the jungle, which is certainly worthwhile. Now can steal away a Wolf Camp potentially if he wants to, or potentially flash on the mid lane here.
He's running straight towards Suman. Suman will back out in time.
Going to have to use a teleport to get back into lane, Suman.
I mean, that's one of the advantages you could say you could have as an Echo or Corki even mid lane. You always have that teleport to survive the rough first few levels. Starts to get better for Echo, and once he ticks 6, Orianna literally can't hit him with his ultimate anymore.
I mean, you can.
It's difficult.
It's difficult, certainly, but when you literally can't hit someone, that means that there's no... Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say, right?
No,
like, Orianna literally can't hit me with an ultimate because I'm in real life, and she's in League of Legends.
What do you mean? I mean, this is real life, right?
Or is this just fantasy?
Goodness. Meanwhile, the rest of the map has been looking pretty okay for Regicide. Bottom lane still dead even. Top side map, ZZZ is doing fine. It's a swiper this early on.
Yep.
He plays a lot of these matchups quite uniquely, ZZZ. He goes aggressive in matchups he should lose to try and close the gap, so to speak.
I think you have to go aggressive early in this matchup, and he hasn't really put all that much work into Swiper. Swiper's still sitting on his potion. So we'll see whether he can get anything done. He's sitting on full rage, so Swiper should potentially be a little bit careful there.
Yeah, ZZZ should be very happy he's going to rage once this crashes on the turret. ZZZ can start to step up again. Does have the level advantage though, which helps out.
Swiper, you can just see he's a confident man at the moment, Fish.
Yep.
Doesn't really have that many cares when it comes to top lane. Does miss a couple of creeps, however.
If you've been following him on social media, he's been at the gym almost every single day. And
he's actually had one of the best transformations out of those OPL players.
Fair props to him. He's lost a lot of weight. He's looking in good shape now.
Certainly is. Goes to the gym in the morning, run at night, does the big swips.
And if you need any motivation in your life, follow him on Snapchat. Every single post he makes is a motivational post right now.
Yeah, IWNL.
Bottom side of the map. This is a lane that we thought would go very heavily in the Chiefs' favor, but Kedu as well as Chen have been stepping up to the test so far.
Yeah, and you can see Swiffer being caught out a little bit here. Doesn't have cleanse, so potentially has to flash. Double stun comes through, but Spooks is here.
And Fade solo. He's forced to flash very early on. Let's see if Chiefs
going to go for it, although Chenchuan does come up, and ZZZ again with the team play actually burns the summoner spell to make sure that his team doesn't fall down.
That might cost him a bit of CS here. Swiper is slowly pushing in that
lane.
Ultimate
coming out of Schumann.
Wants to dive on in, will get locked down by the tree, pops his own ultimate, gets good damage out, but he's low on mana. Let's see if he can dash out. Does face dive away. Swiffer is taking a lot of damage from the creeps.
Certainly is. Still has the summoner spell heal, however, Fish, and just picked level 6 then. That's actually big for Schumann that he had to use the ultimate to dodge out of that gank, because it means now when Swiffer shops, he's going to come back with a lot of control over this mid lane.
Yeah.
And Human, you can see, has to stick around because he doesn't want that creep wave to hit turret, but he doesn't have mana, so he's not going to be able to shove the next one out. The best he's going to get is a 50-50 wave.
And he's 15 CS behind Swiffer at the moment. That's about 300 gold in Human's favor.
Swiper also walks back to lane, so both top laners have taken the long hike. ZZZ because he already used his TP, but Swiper because he just wanted to.
It's going to hurt. Swiper gets a lot of damage to ZZ. I feel like he could have kept chasing there as he was about to go Mega. ZZ actually dashing in, so that's going to be a big trade top lane. Meanwhile, Fade as well as Spooks mid in the jungle. He knocks the Christmas tree out.
Yep. But big reset coming out. This is a little bit frustrating for Fade. Jungle camps have been behaving strangely in the OPL.
Losing their patience.
They are. Oh, big nah, but Swiper's actually on the wrong side of the map.
Dominus has been popped. ZZ flashes in for a stun. Good hop away from Swiper though.
Yeah, and you're seeing exactly why it's not exactly an easy lane. And he's actually going for Black Cleaver as well first. I thought that he would just go with the Frozen Mallet again, Fish. However, seems to value the cooldown reduction and the armor shred in this lane. See ZZZ also going for the same thing.
Yeah, CZ has gone Black Cleaver into Blade of the Roaring King in this matchup. Surprised he doesn't just opt for the Ravenous Hydra, which is what they normally do in matchups like this. Does get the stun down, will get good damage on the Swiper.
But how much does he take in response? Because that's where Mininar starts winning trades, Fish. And you know that he doesn't have the flash available, so Swiper could have potentially once again chased a little bit more. Instead, looks like he wants to get a teleport back into lane.
With Rage Bar for ZZ. If he ever stuns Swiper with full rage, he is probably going to die in mini form. Sunwell, he's about a minion wave up and is pushing Swiper back out of this lane. We're going to check in with the bottom lane again. BS Sword has been picked up by Kedu. Raze sticking to the Vamp sector very early, and we shouldn't see too much from them. They're just going to farm up.
Swiffer trying to steal a couple of chickens. Gets 2. That's more annoying than anything if you Fade. I heard your CS numbers. Hate it when people steal my chickens.
But a very quiet early game between Regicide and the Chiefs, which is good for Regicide.
I mean, is it? Because they won last early game and got up 2,000 gold, and then the Chiefs were still better at team fighting.
True.
And were able to take it out. So do you really want a quiet early game, or do you want a really hectic one that you somehow win?
So I think for Regicide, if they want to win, they need a very hectic one. But the quiet one, to me, just means long-term improvement for them. They can start to, you know, even out games against top 4 teams like the Chiefs and then get better at that mid and late game. I think they start to become a bit more solid, but 8 weeks into the OPL, a little bit late to go for any sort of improvement plays.
See, again, the Chiefs off the back end of a blue buff spawn. We used to see this a lot in old school League of Legends, Fish. Actually start up a dragon with Kalista. Teleport is coming in. We'll see where they go for a big engage.
Yep, it's going to be Kedu that locks everyone down. The Infernal Dragon has been picked up, but at what cost?
Oh,
Swiffer shockwaves himself. Close your eyes. No one's meant to ever see that. Somehow, though, they still get away without losing a single member from their team. Let's see if Regicide do follow
However,
up.
Swiffer needs to be careful here. They all walk in underneath the turret. They want to go for the dive, but I just don't think they can, Fish. And now Swiper is going to just sit top and put work into the turret. That is such a bad news story for Team Regicide. It looked like it was going to be a great fight, but it just did not work out.
It looked perfect from them. Chen Chen with a great engage. Kedu with the follow-up. Then it just all went south from there. The Chiefs were able to respond. But my goodness, that's a big botch play from Regicide.
Certainly is. I mean, once again, if Regicide were able to execute a little bit cleaner, they get 3-man ulti, 3-man snare, and then all of a sudden it looks like Raze is going to be trapped on the backside. Swiffer misses ultimate, but Raze just hops over the wall perfectly, you know, puts the dancing shoes on, able to get out. A really well-played disengage, and in fact, it looks like on live, that Human had to burn his TP to get top lane to not give up first brick, which is even more important for the Team Regicide, because now they don't have any of their globals.
Yep. So, not a great play for Regicide. They lose tempo, putting them 1,000 gold behind, and an Infernal Drake, which, when you have an Orianna in the squad, you'd be very happy with that pickup. Human does return into the mid lane.
Orianna, Kalista, even Nah does pretty good things. He goes double AD items before anything else. Be very happy if you are the Chiefs Esports Club right now. Got away, and now they're looking to collapse on the Fade.
Yeah, and Swiper's going to get Hyper here as well. Going to go Mega soon too. Fade wants to jump on the wall, but being body blocked by the duo. He's forced to flash. Swiper just goes over and nars him back to the wall for first blood.
And they might get another one here. Swiffer is also joining.
Let's see what they can do. Ultimate is thrown out by Spooks, goes the wrong way, but can they still get it? Swiper wants to go in here.
Yeah, I mean, he can still look for it, Fish, because he's about to go Mini. And Mini is just going to throw boomerangs at him and look to chunk him out. He's about to go out of Dominus there, so he can potentially go for the next boomerang as well.
He's got to be careful. Minions are here as well. Swiper still hugging the turret. The Chiefs want this. Swiper will take up a few more hits. Spooks gets the shield from Swiffer and goes closer towards the brush. Will lock him down. He flashes away, but Shockwave pulls him back in.
Oh, he nearly got Swiper.
Almost kills Swiper, but not enough.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't. Now Ray's in some trouble as well. Chen Shuan looking for it. However, Ejim comes to his rescue.
Locks him down, but doesn't get the passive off, and Kedu still throws feathers into the support.
Good trade out of Chen Shuan and Kedu. Actually playing on the edge of that little bit of a skirmish. Ejim certainly could have looked for the ulti, however, with Razors not available, would have been a bit of a dangerous play.
And we heard from Vicarious at the start of the match that Regicide have been looking a lot better in the practice games, and he's hoping to pick up a map or a series victory in the last 2 weeks. So good to see that they still have high morale, despite placing very lowly in the OPL at the moment.
I completely agree, and I mean, that's what your attitude should be. We didn't know how Regicide was going to perform, to be honest, Fish. They just had so many unknown players.
Yep.
But they have turned into a pretty exciting lineup. I mean, when they get an early game going in their favor, they do look to fight pretty consistently. And even if they fall behind, they will look to see if they can go toe-to-toe with some of these teams.
Yep. Especially when ZZZ decides he has to throw the kitchen sink at someone, and then it gets a bit hypey with Blade of Ruin Kings picked up randomly.
Yep.
This game is still building very standard against Swiper, and as we mentioned, he's doing fine into this Gnar matchup, which is a big winning lane, but this is the big deal for Swiper. He's got first brick by himself.
Yeah, the solo gold going across to the Gnar just is meaning that this is going to accelerate even quicker than you thought. I mean, 1,200 gold. He was already 500 gold up. Now add the 650 on top of it. Big deal for the Gnar player.
Yeah, it's 300 in one lane. Big advantage in the mid lane where Suman is down close to 40 CS against Swiffer.
Yeah, he's just not able to stand up to Swiffer at the moment, unfortunately. I thought that we were going to see less and less control mages coming out after they all got slightly tapped, Fish. But apparently they need to kick up the bum to be able to get out of this better. Of course, shields on tanks just make it so much easier to execute team fights. And Big Swips is being a little bit of a gromp goblin. You thought we was going to recall? However, ducks into phase jungle and just takes away a camp, something that Big Swips prides himself on.
And Chiefs, just with the 2 kills as well as the natural lane advantages, have picked up a 3,000 gold lead. Fade's looking for a play against Swiffer here.
Yeah, it doesn't have cleanse, remember, Fish, so certainly can look to throw an ulti at him. If you peg that one out, Suman will have enough damage to follow up with a kill.
But Swiffer has rushed the Mercury threads, so he expects to be locked down in this match. Black Cleaver has been picked up by Swiper, so that's a big item spike for Gnar.
This is a tilting play coming out of Suman. He's just taken majority of his health to a blue buff. I don't know if... Oh, and it's being given over to Fade.
Oh no. Disaster.
That is a disaster.
Sunfire Cave OP. Oh, Cinderhulk, I should say.
I don't think Cinderhulk can kill Hampton, so it must have been the red buff.
Ah.
I think Cinderhulk gets everything to 1 health. Big dive potentially coming out now bottom. Kedu was on the wrong side of this, unfortunately.
Chen Shuan taking quite a bit of damage there. But he's absolutely fine. Kedu wants to do something. Tickle Spooks and Ejim a bit, but they lock down the support. Sidesteps it very casually from Bryce.
Yeah.
Stop talking.
Chiefs this time around look like they're a little bit more comfortable in the matchup, Fish.
They certainly do. Playing it nice and steady and create a good lead for himself. Suman dodges out of Swiffer's ultimate. Literally can't hit him. And just returns straight back into this mid lane, which Swiffer is dominating at the moment.
But
40
Swiffer
CS
won the
up now.
trade. I mean, that's the big thing to point out, is even though he ulted the ult, still wanting trades. Boost uses his ultimate.
Yeah, Regicide tried to engage off another Infernal Dragon. This summon has not been taken out. Shockwave still available. It's in the middle of the team. Does he pull the trigger? Big Gnar into the wall. Picks up the first kill onto the AD carry. The jungler falls shortly after. Swiffer gets one for himself. Sealman dashes in and has to dash back out. So 3 kills picked up for the
going
Chiefs.
the wrong way. He's dead.
4 kills now for the Chiefs, as well as Infernal Dragon falling shortly after. Chen going to get back to base.
Nico, no.
Jumps over, doesn't get the knock up. Now getting absolutely smashed by Orianna. Ejim wants a kill for himself. Is he going to pick it up? No, ace picked up by Swiffer.
And that's another triple kill picked up for Swiffer. 3-0-3, looking very impressive. Has that 9 stack on the Dark Seal. But let's take another look at this line of pitch. I mean, the ulti out of Spooks gets it started, and then Razor's positioning is just fantastic. Great awareness of where ZZZ is. Means that Swiper can block off that choke point just with his big body. And it's so hard to kill Maokai if you don't get him in the initial CC because of the fact that he can just leech so much life back through that obnoxious passive. And as the Chiefs held so many summoner spells throughout this, Swiffer was confident enough to chase down Human, who didn't have his ultimate available, and pick up another kill for himself. Now 50-ish CS up, as well as 3-0-3. The mid laner of the Chiefs has been ranked 1 on the server for a good majority of this season, sharing it with people like, you know, Fantix, and I think Tally was up there for, Tally or Claire, one of the Legacy members was up there for a little bit.
And me.
But he's having a very good split.
Certainly is. Sealman taking half his health damage. It wants to dive on towards Swiffer, but can't. Shockwave hits.
Get him.
And then he's going to use the ultimate to get away.
I didn't think that was possible, Fish.
No, it's literally impossible. It's Sealman breaking the game somehow. But during this entire time, Chiefs are looking for a perfect game. 7 kills to none, a turret to nothing, and 2 dragons picked up in their favor. But unfortunately, we are in a pause here between the Chiefs and Regicide members.
Wonder if Ejim's knocked his R key off again. That's what we actually got the pause for last time. As I stand up too quickly and get very dizzy, Fish. Still a little bit sick. Still a little bit sick.
Yeah, so am I. This is a struggle at best.
I mean, we went through like Claire Carbon had it last week as well. FBI on Sin Gaming, me and you. The plague has taken over the OPL. And apparently Swiffer also has it because he's holding his eyes or sinuses.
That was me yesterday watching the OPL.
Maybe he's just a little bit camera shy. Oh, Sammy's given him a little bit of a pep up though.
But it is again Ejim's keycap falling off his keyboard.
Do you know, fun fact about Ejim. So Ejim spams F1 when he plays the game.
Okay.
That recenters your camera on you.
Okay.
Spacebar is much easier to hit, but for whatever reason, he spams F1. He also has to unbind Windows key and unbind Alt F4 because he spams random things like Tab and Alt and all these other buttons. His APM must be like incredibly high, but he has been known to just randomly exit games or randomly window exit games. So I am not surprised that his keyboard is breaking. I think this is no reflection on Logitech products at all, and that it is just Ejim is a very rough League of Legends player.
I mean, I knew a lot of junglers used to break their tab button in the same sense where they constantly spam tab.
Big collapse coming out mid lane. The Chiefs do use their Rift Herald to try and take down the turret. It does on 1 charge.
And
Going to get a second one off.
the collapse doesn't get anything. Yeah, Rift Herald goes for a bit of a brawl here.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Boom. Although Keto and Chenchuan were actually able to get Ejim and Ray's turret first this time around.
Yep. So no perfect game for the Chiefs, but they do take down bottom lane outer turret for themselves. But this game is slowly becoming a disaster for each side. $5,000 lead for the Chiefs.
And this is probably how the Chiefs wanted to play this series, to be honest, Fish. Very slow, methodical. They took the team fights around Dragon that they had started up. They probably knew that they were coming, and they were able to win out in the incremental advantages that the Chiefs like to be able to execute upon. At the same time, I think that Regicide would look at their laning phase this game and be like, this is how we should lane, but game 1 is what we need out of Fade in terms of jungle activity early, because he was much busier in game 1 than he has been in game 2.
Certainly has, and he's been costing his team quite a few of these big plays as well. Kato and Chenchuan, however, we've mentioned them already, having a fine performance. Chenchuan rushing Knight's Vow, which we see picked up as a second jungle item quite frequently.
Yeah, hasn't actually put it on his support though. So, you know, he's going to pick up the item, probably should.
Just holding onto it, see if he needs to put it on Sealman or someone else instead.
Yep. So you can see Swiper has caught out a member in the jungle.
Or is it Swiper that's
Oh,
caught?
yeah.
As everyone Regicide dives on in. He's going to get taken down.
For some reason, I thought the Sejuani was Spooks. Remembered it was Fade a little bit too late. But yeah, he certainly got caught out there.
Well, there's Spooks. He's camouflaging inside his own jungle.
Yeah, the tree. Ooh, that's a good rapid camp. That's value. Ooh.
Picks it up. But they're not
he's
very
in
happy
trouble.
with him. He'll get locked down, knocked up, and rooted by Kedu. Gonna have to flash over this wall. Stop talking, Rakan. There's a team fight. We need a commentator over this. We'll flash over eventually. Swiffer is able to defend his jungler, and Spooks gets out alive.
Yeah, it certainly does. And you can see that they were actually maybe looking for a team fight, Fish. Because they called over Bryce, as well as the fact that as soon as the turret went down, Raze rotated out. And the Chiefs playing on the brink, but able to get away with that one.
ZZ will get some
Ooh.
damage on this top lane turret.
Swiper is a full frozen mallet ahead somehow.
Ouch.
ZZZ mustn't have chopped recently.
Sitting on 1,700 gold.
Still not the price of a frozen mallet.
Yep, he is
1,600
1,600 behind Swiper. So this will be the kill, extra 3 assists, as well as the global gold that the Chiefs have picked up.
Yep.
Raze has his Hurricane complete with the Blade of the Ruined King. Essence Reaver to Zeal for Kedu.
I like the adaptation in the build coming out of ZZZ. He knows that Raze is going to be putting a lot of twigs into him in these team fights, which is inevitably getting towards. He can't really outsplit someone that's a full item ahead of him, so he is going to be forced to team fight eventually.
Yeah, we kind of thought that Bramble Vest would be a very popular item when it was released.
Especially against Ballista, as that's a bad Shockwave Swiffer. I think he actually said my bad on camera then. So I love to check player cams after a bad play happens to just see what goes down. That gives up all mid lane pressure that they have right now.
It is a very short cooldown spell. It's already a quarter off.
Yep. See which dragon is spawning next. Don't know really if the Chiefs are looking to posture over the bottom side of the map anymore. It's a Cloud Dragon, so that makes sense. And Spooks has engaged onto Fade.
He flashes out. He's going to be perfectly fine.
It's a lot of Baron pressure, however. They've got Swiper in the bottom lane, shoving into ZZZ with a 2-level advantage. As soon as this Shockwave is back available, you have to assume that the Chiefs will look at that objective. Maybe even before Fishery.
Essentially try and force it now. They've got good control wards, and they've got a Callista. So they
Swiper,
have started up
however,
as
is
3.
in Mega. So generally you don't start the objective if your top laner is in Mega. You wait for him to be back in Mini.
Chiefs are forcing.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Teleport is going to come in. Spooks throws out the ultimate.
cancel
Teleport
the
does
teleport,
get cancelled. Might have been ZZ that got that off. A big engage go out for Chen Shred. They lock down Swiffer. Shockwave whiffs again. As Swiffer, somehow still alive, gets popped by the Echo. Chen Shred and Kedu trying to kite back Spooks. Looking like a good fight for these two teams. Kedu will get one. Still very healthy. Takes down Razorhawk. No, he doesn't. Rips the spears out for the triple kill. ZZZ now going to show up to the fight. Pops his dominance. That's an angry Crocodile.
He has Flash.
Not going to go just yet. Still waiting for the last bit of rage. Spooks does get out to one of the creeps, and ZZ will get back to farming.
So the Chiefs once again win a team fight without their mid laner's ultimate, which is probably the reason you pick Orianna, I would say, Fish. Not the cleanest fight out of the Chiefs, but still able to pick up the victory.
Yeah, put him on Annie instead. That ultimate is instant, possible to miss. But has not looked good for Swiffer. Somehow the Chiefs still win this. I think Raze played it perfectly.
Yeah, I think so as well. So you see a big ulti coming out. On the back end, Chitchwin does his job, but it wasn't layered good enough with Suman's stun field. Suman is able to get a good ulti to clean up Swiffer after Swiffer misses the Shockwave. But then, I mean, Raze is just absolutely dancing circles around people, able to prioritize the right targets. And then, as you said, just the Ren damage is not expected, especially when it's the Hurricane twigs that are going into you, as opposed to the main twigs. Kedu probably felt like he got auto-attacked all of 0 times that fight, and still had about 5 sticks in him, Fish.
Yeah, I was wondering where his health went after the end of that fight, but he played it well, Kedu. He's able to kite out Spooks, just the rest of his team fell too quickly. And Human, unfortunately, although he got the kill, was not able to contribute to most of the damage.
Bit dangerous here. I mean, he's overextending. I like what Regicide have done, however. They've put Human into the bottom lane against Swiper, because they have the teleport advantage there. Also looks like Swiper cancelled his own teleport and wasn't cancelled on, because his cooldown is much shorter. Which is important to note. Watch yourself when you're teleporting. If someone is going to cancel it, just hit the F key again. Or D, whatever you use teleport.
F is for flash.
F
so
is
D.
No. F is not for flash.
Yes, it is.
No.
It stands for flash.
F stands for F 'em up. That's why you put ignite
That's
on.
why you put flash so you can jump forward.
Yeah. D stands for Flash.
Dance.
Dance.
I've been told in all chat many times.
Press D to dance.
Press D to dance.
I have been told that. a log and all chat.
I think one of the first time I started playing the game, I did press D to dance, and I was not happy.
Oof, that's rough.
Says some
Would have
choice
been like
words.
Ghost back then, though. As we see the Chiefs actually starting up the Baron one more time. Once again, Swiper's teleport is not yet up. It's about to come back and available. And Spooks is taking Baron damage. That's a pretty ordinary ult out of Spooks. Clips Kedu, Chenchwen, however.
He's fine. He's telling him dash up,
Swiper killed Human.
and he is going to teleport into this fight.
So that's going to be a free Baron, most likely.
Human dies through his ultimate. And now the Chiefs, 5 on 4. Let's see if they go for the fight. ZZ throws out his ultimate. They try to collapse on the Swiffer, but both the ultimate from Sejuani as well as Cherncho's engage miss. So Swiffer burns the shockwave, but now there's no way for them to get into it. Spooks will get the Baron, and Regicide get collapsed on. Double kill for Nah. Kedu's gonna fall shortly after as well. Spooks takes that one for himself, and it's 4 kills for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Regicide, I mean, Human dies in the split, and that just makes it a 4v5. Swiper teleports nice and early. They force the big objective. They think they've caught out Swiffer, but this time he lands a shockwave, and the Chiefs now can just march into the base. The bottom lane of Regicide is dead. ZZZ still has 20 seconds left on his death timer, and the Chiefs will look to take the maximum.
Yeah, there will be Fade holding off the minion wave so that
I mean,
Chiefs
now
can't
that Fade's
end.
gone back, potentially they can. They've got a big tank as well as a cannon creep there, so they decide not to fish. Instead, he's going to corral them. This is an interesting move out of Fade.
Chiefs just hit the recall button halfway through, and we'll go back to base. Razors get spotted out.
Yeah, he certainly does. We'll see whether they also spot out Swiper.
Some good damage now once his boomerang back though. Picks it up, Kalista goes back to base, and Chiefs will just settle for the massive goal lead they have
This
at the
is
moment.
how Swiper killed Human. So as you can see, he's just chasing him with those annoying auto attacks. He's about to go mega,
Oof.
flashes on his head, and absolutely bodies him. I think it's fair to say. Is that a bodying?
Brutal. He got Jensen almost. But it's a 14,000 gold lead for the Chiefs.
And Swiper's gone back and got himself a GA. So as far as damage threats go on the Chiefs, it's actually pretty big. He's 4,000 gold up.
Yep.
Maybe 3 points for Big Swips this week.
He's been looking really good.
Like Simon Swiffer's play has been impressive apart from his R button. Game 1, he certainly put on a big carry performance, 3-1 and 10. You know, has looked good this game, apart from the fact that he can't hit a shockwave. Which is pretty crucial when you play Orianna, not going to lie.
Him and Ejim need to swap keyboards. He'll play much better after that. So every shockwave counts. You never know which one's going to destroy your keyboard. But the Chiefs do class towards top lane inner. Ejim and Raze, they've been looking okay, but they haven't had an impressive game that we're used to seeing from them.
I mean, they've been fine, I think it's fair to say. They just haven't been, you know, the normal electric Raze.
So this turret is going to fall. Raze will take it down with ease. Baron buff going to continue propelling the Chiefs
Swiper
ahead.
kind of 1v1ing bottom lane. You can see that he's dancing around on the mini Gnar at the moment.
15,000 gold lead for the Chiefs. They're just going to further increase his advantage. Regicide need to force
have
an
to go.
initiative somewhere.
I mean, if they don't go, this game is just going to be over. You can't let all 3 of your inhibitors go down when you're this far behind.
There we go.
Here we go.
Chencho with another good initiation, but is it enough? Meanwhile, Swiper's already got a kill for himself. This time the shockwave connects, and even though Stuma goes in the backlines, he's getting obliterated. Spooks gets another kill for himself. Kedu is going to fall to Raze as well. Swiper now joins the team fight after his solo adventures, and that's going to be game to the Chiefs. Decisive match. Close to a 20, in fact, it's going to be a 20,000 goal lead for them as they end out this game 2-0 against Regicide. Looking dominant, they want to dive the fountain, but in fact, it's just Spooks and Swiffer who are left to the wolves, and they will pick up the victory.
That's hilarious. There was obviously a we're going as 5, and then the other Chiefs members were like, he's too far away, I'm not going. So, you know, Spooks and Swiffer, they die. The other 3 Chiefs members are absolutely fine, and they pick up the 2-0 victory, which is what they needed, Fish. We came in today saying if the Chiefs 2-0, the destiny is still in their hands a little bit. If they're able to pick up the 2-0 versus Direwolves next week, or somehow Direwolves drop a game against Abyss Esports next, then they can still be the top placed team.
Potentially. Their fate rests in the hands of Sin as well as
The
Abyss.
Direwolves, yeah.
But regardless, even if they can't, because Direwolves pick up a 2-0 or Sin not able to pick up a single map victory, they can at least still finish second in by their own performance, so to speak. And That's a big difference. Means you only have to play one single series during the Gauntlet run. And if you win that, move into the finals the week after.
Yeah, exactly right. However, this time around, some more promising sides from Regisade's bottom lane. I think that's the best of we've seen them play. Chen Xuan looked pretty comfortable on the Rakan this time around, had some pretty sick engages, and unfortunately the team fights just didn't go their way. And in a tank meta, in a team fighting meta fish, they must. Otherwise, you're not going to pick up games.
Yep. And, I mean, morale still looks high for the rest of the Regicide team, which is good to see. But, again, Game 1 looked good for them. Game 2, it was fairly even against the Chiefs, and that just really wasn't enough.
It just felt like Chiefs were slow playing them. And when the Chiefs were comfortable, they were playing in their groove. They're starting Dragon when they want to. They're pushing the lanes that they want to. They're, choosing if they need a TP, if they don't need a TP. That list all looks so much more promising than that hectic slapdash early game that we saw out of them in Game 1. The games ended in similar fashions, but the Chiefs definitely had a much tighter grasp over that Game 2 victory.
And Regicide is still on the race to try and avoid relegations.
Yeah.
If they can stay a point ahead of TM, take down the third bottom seed team,
Which will be Abyss most likely.
they would stay in the OPL for next split without having to go through Promo Relo. So still have a lot more to see from Regicide, and hopefully they'll be able to do just that. For now, though, let's send it back to the analysts to break down that series.
Thank you, Fish. Thank you, Spawn. And a much cleaner game out of the Chiefs. So let me get your initial thoughts before we throw the interview, Carbon.
Yeah, look, I thought it was a lot better than the first game. I thought Spooks played pretty well in the jungle. I thought Swiffer had a really good game. Punished the Echo pick early.
Aside from the Orianna ults.
Yeah, he whiffed some ults, but, that happens. But I thought his lane phase was really good, and I think he translated his pressure pretty well.
I think I agree with everything Carbon said. Not much to say. I think it was just a clean game, and I don't think there was this game. There was no real concern. They won early game. They won mid game. They won mid lane really hard. They just won every lane.
Only little blemish was Baron. They tried to do Baron and turned, and they traded 3 for 3 or something like that. So that was the only little thing. But Chiefs aren't really that good at Baron team anyway. Shouts out Ejim.
Shout out Ejim.
Do you think in your tier list ranking, who is of Sin Direwolves Chiefs Legacy, who's the worst at Baroning right now?
Who's the worst?
Yeah.
I would have said that we were pretty good until I got outsmarted by Shockwave, and then that's just we just played that badly. So until then, no. Outsmarted Levi Baron, by the way.
All right. Well, now that meme's come out, it is time for us to throw to Serian, who's standing by with Swiper for the interview.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Big Swips himself. Congratulations on the 2-0 win. How did you feel the Chiefs performed today?
I think game 1 was maybe a little bit shaky. We might have disrespected them a bit too much. But other than that, I think our practice is showing, especially our mid to late game macro. I think it's really good right now, and we're pretty crisp with it.
When I spoke to Ejim a few weeks ago, he said there were a few problems on translating wins here in the league. Do you feel like you're close to rectifying those problems with the Gauntlet coming up?
I mean, I think it's hard to say right now. Our true test will be against Isles next week. Yeah. I do think that we have shown improvements on stage. No one's getting a bit nervous. So hopefully, against Isles, if it's a 2-0, I think we'll be really good in the Gauntlet.
Now, Swiper, you've been posting a lot of motivational tweets and Snapchats out about how you don't want to lose and that you want to improve. So what's the source of this motivation, and what are your personal goals?
I went to Korea after we lost last split, and I just essentially really wanted to make goals, to win this split. So I'm really emotional about it and really driven. So if I don't lose this split, if I lose this split, I'll be devastated. So I got to give it everything I got.
Well, congratulations on today's win, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Big Swips showing improvements.
I like it.
Being motivated.
You got to love a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah,
crisp, he said.
Yeah, and described himself as very emotional. I think when I first started in this job, I was like, the OPL, you don't see enough people crying, you don't see enough people emotional. And then after Direwolves won last split, just tears and emotion everywhere. Big fan. Big fan of the emotion coming out of the OPL now.
Did you see me after Gauntlet when I got reverse swept by Big Timmy?
Whoops. My bad.
I mean, I'm sitting in the gutter like this. So contemplating life, where am I going? What am I doing? Just been reverse swept by Tim.
All right, let's talk about this game, shall we? Carbon, what was the kind of the theme of this game for you? What was the what defined this game for you?
I think the big difference between this game and the last was the early game, and I think the big thing was the 2 dragon fights. And I think the first one we have a replay of, which I thought was really unfortunate. A nice engage, but just no one's there to follow up instantly. It's all a bit. All the damage is a little bit just off time, and somehow Chiefs all managed to live. Some really nice cutting from Raze. And Regicide, they look for the follow-up dive as well, but they get caught in this bush. The bot lane goes bot to try and push in the wave, but they can't do it quick enough. I think they maybe have just went a little bit earlier into that. Sorry, they went a little too early into the try, took a lot of damage and had to leave. All the while, Gnar is just pushing. Swipe is just pushing in the top lane, gets a big CS advantage. He ends up getting that top tower organically, and just nobody dying there just hurt them so much.
I think the biggest problem with that play was not necessarily not getting any kills. Like, sure, you lost Dragon, sure, you burnt Ultimate. Renekton came down for that. If Renekton didn't TP and he was just in top lane farming and still 1v1ing Gnar, I don't think that play is that bad. Like, that doesn't change the context of the game.
They burnt all their sums as well. And I think if you like contextually, if you contrast it with the last game, where the early game they were winning, like they were having those same fights, but they were winning them. They were turning them into gold and objectives. I thought that was, to me, that was the big difference between the two.
Yep.
But were Chiefs doing anything right and different in that fight, for example, that you liked?
Well, I thought like their micro was pretty clean there to all live, and I
Close
thought
to hopping over the wall.
Yeah, I thought that was a
stuff.
little bit different from the first game. In the first game, there was, I mean, there were still whiffs in that second whiffers, but there were still whiffs in that second game, and I thought that in the first game, Chiefs the micro was maybe a little bit sloppier, but. I don't know. To me, it wasn't that big a difference. Like I said, like Regicide to me looked like they were playing much the same way, just that this time it didn't work out.
You could just say Swiffer.
Yeah, that's much better than
Swiffer.
Swiffer.
Oh
yeah.
boy.
Swifted.
And then I guess touching on the dragon topic, there was a second dragon, which I want to touch on. And it was this one from Regicide. Like, they didn't want to give them the second Infernal. They pulled the Sejuani out. They pulled the Engage. Renekton's coming in for the flank, but they just stacked for a really good Mega Gnar, and Reyes was just hopping around that team fight. Like, he played that team fight really well. He just pretty much like was away from all the damage, but getting maximum damage out on their carries. Swiper came in, good Mega. Orianna cleaned up. I think Orianna even whiffed the Shockwave in that one, so good on you, Swiffer. But yeah, it was just the Chiefs were just too clean in team fighting, and I think they were just way too comfortable within their team in team fighting, which makes sense for a team that's been together for, I guess, like 3 years, 4 years now.
Yeah, I think
got good synergy.
Yeah, but like I just even in that replay there, like again, like they're engaging, but it's not all instantly there. Like the Sedge ult is wearing off by the time Renekton gets there. Echo is way late, even though he has TP. He could have just TP'd to the same ward as Renekton.
Yeah.
So it just looks to me like they just weren't on the same page, and I think that comes from them being behind in gold.
Yeah, but I also think it's positive. Like,
absolutely.
if you have to play that match against Abyss, well, because they're gonna have to, well, they may have to play that match against Abyss to stay in the OPL.
Depending on how TM goes.
Yeah, if you pull the engages like that, I'm not necessarily sure you're gonna get punished like the Chiefs will punish you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think really positive signs. They're going for proactive plays, and for the most part, like it's working. Like it's not like Chen Shuan is just missing his engage, or they're throwing Sedge ult the wrong way, or you know what I mean. It's just that the timing is a little bit off, and that's mostly down to communication. So I think really good signs from Regicide.
Kedu popped off this game.
We said it at the start. We said on the desk at the start, you know, we thought that
Kedu's
Kedu had the potential to do better than what he was, and I thought that this series he did actually play quite well. I mean, obviously they lost, but
Big Swips top damage there. Big Swips.
yeah, well, I mean, he did get a lot of free farm, and then he spent a lot of time just throwing.
The deceiving.
What is his weapon? It's boomerang, right?
Boomerang.
Just
The
boomerang
deceiving
it.
thing about tanks, and specifically ones with % HP straight, is when they top damage at the end of the game, everyone's like, oh, Gnar carried. But Swiper did have some good team fights, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say this game in particular.
Really just boomeranging
But
this
you're
crocodile in the head.
Yeah, you're boomeranging another tank, and you're taking %
like
HP off him.
relevant.
Yeah.
He recalls, comes back to lane,
There's
you
the more
boomerang him
damage
some
to do.
more, and it's like, I padded my damage stat. But no, Swiper did have a very good game.
So as people observing this game then and looking forward to Gauntlet, did you learn anything about Chiefs today?
Not really. They
No?
they like
Not really,
Maokai a lot.
Exploit the early game. That's the sin.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Sin
you could-
plan going into versus
Early game
Chiefs.
doesn't look that good. I think like Swiper said, the big test obviously is next week versus Direwolves.
Yeah.
That's where I think you get most of your information. You can't really
Yeah.
say much about this. Like maybe Chiefs aren't really showing their hand. Maybe this is just stuff they've played, and they said, okay, we'll just show this because we've already showed this.
Absolutely.
Nothing there in either of those games was out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Like, that was about as meta as you can get. So I don't think there's much to learn. Bit sloppy in the early game, but like that's something that changes every game. You know what I mean? Like you could have the worst early game of all time, and then the very next game you might
just
come
clean.
out and just get a lucky double kill somewhere, and you just snowball. So. Look, I don't think there's much to take from it. I think if you're a Chief fan, you'd be happy with the 2-0, and you'd be looking forward to next week.
All right, well, that wraps up our first match of the day. Chiefs proving too strong for Regicide. But do not go anywhere because we'll be back very, very soon with our second match of the day. Right now, it's time for Sarianne, who's got a message about our PAX cosplay competition.
Thanks, Hingers. Riot is bringing Oceania's best League of Legends cosplays to PAX Australia 2017. Entries will close on midnight the 17th of September, and winners will receive accommodation and flights to Melbourne. For all the details on how you can enter and the contest rules, make sure you head on over to boards.oce.leagueoflegends.com. We'll be right back after this with the Direwolves taking on Abyss.
Into the wall, picks up the first kill onto the AD carry. The jungler falls shortly after. Swiffer gets one for himself. Sealman dashes in and has to dash back out. So 2-3 kills picked up for the Chiefs. Jumps over, doesn't get the knock up. Now getting absolutely smashed by Orianna. Ejin wants a kill for himself. Is he going to pick it up? No, ace picked up by Swiffer. And a big engage go out for Chernshred. They lock down Swiffer. Shockwave whips again. And Swiffer, somehow still alive, gets popped by the Echo. Chernshred and Kedu trying to kite back Spooks. Looking like a good fight for these two teams. Kedu will get one, still very healthy, takes down Razorwolf. No, he doesn't. Rips the spears out for the triple kill. Spooks will get the Baron and Regicide get collapsed on. Double kill for Nah. Kedu's gonna fall shortly after as well. Meanwhile, Swiper's already got a kill for himself. This time the Shockwave connects, and even though Stewart goes in the backlines, he's getting obliterated. Spooks gets another kill for himself. Decisive match, close to a 20, in fact, it's going to be a 20,000 goal lead for them as they end out this game. 2-0 against Regicide, looking dominant. They want to dive the fountain, but in fact, it's just Spooks and Swiffer who are left to the Wolves, and they will pick up the victory.